Welcome to the 48th Annual ARNOVA Conference. Again, for those of you who are just arriving, we had a great plenary to kick us off this morning. We have 817 people here. Yes, give yourself a round of applause. And even more exciting than that, we have people from 40 countries here at the conference, representing 40 countries. We want to especially give a warm welcome to our guests coming from outside the U.S., and in particular, that had joined us at our conferences in Asia and Africa. We really are glad that you're here. So I'd like to thank our institutional conference hosts, University of San Diego, thank you San Diego. The Bush School of Government and Public Service at Texas A&M University, and the University of Southern California Sol Price School of Public Policy. Thank you very much. I want to remind you all that you should look for our new ARNOVA family members that have come to join us today. They have a bright blue ribbon on. Hopefully they put their blue ribbon on. As first-time attendees, please go and say hello if you've been here for a while, and thank you for being here. Yes. And those of you who are here for the first time, please don't be shy about coming up and saying hello. Okay, speaking of a warm welcome and a first-timer, I want to just take a moment before we get started with the rest of the program to introduce a very special person who's joining us, our new executive director, Lynette Cook. Lynette, you want to come up for a little bit? As you probably saw in the email that we sent out to you recently, we had a very extensive and rigorous process and selected Lynette because of her impressive experience and professional achievements. She holds a PhD in psychology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and also brings experience from the United Way of Central Ohio, the Ohio Department of Health, Thoughtwell, and most recently Root Strike Labs, which provides agents of social impact the guidance, space, and context to reframe and develop creative capacities. So we're really looking forward to working with Lynette. We give her a couple minutes to say hello today. She's going to be able to she'll have more time at our member meeting tomorrow morning, so I hope you all come to that too.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. How are you? Oh, thanks. I just want to say two quick things. First, Angie and the rest of the board are almost as nice as all of the members. This is the nicest room of people I have ever come across in my life. I mean, it's just the niceness. You're just nice. You're kind. You care. So I feel very welcomed. Thank you. The other thing I'll say, first-timers unite, right? Please come and talk to me. I'm anxious to talk to each and every one of you. I may not have time to do it this conference, but I promise you we're going to all connect. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I want to welcome Amir Pasek from the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy at Indiana University, who are sponsoring this luncheon, to make a few remarks.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Angie, and congratulations on a wonderfully successful transition, as we can see. And congratulations to all our ARNOVans for being here today and for building this vibrant, scholarly, now transnational community as well. So as your sponsor, we are fortunate to be in a position at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy to be able to sponsor this luncheon, and we feel doubly fortunate because one of the people we're celebrating is not only somebody who is vital to the history of ARNOVA, but I think somebody without whom the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy would not be where it is. And because I need to say Lilly Family School of Philanthropy 3 times, allow me to remind you that next year we will all be in Indianapolis, and we look forward to welcoming you there. But if you happen to be near the crossroads of America, we like to think of ourselves as a welcoming place. So please do stop in and say hello. We'd love to have you come through Indianapolis to the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy anytime you like. Thank you very much.
Okay, now for the moment you've been waiting for. We're here to recognize the Award for Distinguished Achievement in Leadership and Nonprofit and Voluntary Research Award. And I want to thank, first of all, the committee that's listed up on the screen. Thank you so much for your time and effort at this committee. So I'm pleased to announce that we have 2 award winners for this award this year, Susan Ostrander and Dwight Burlingame. And I'm going to first of all ask Roseanne Mirabella to please come up, and one of the people that nominated Professor Ostrander, to say a few words about the nomination and read an excerpt of the nomination letter for Susan.
Good afternoon. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce Dr. Susan Ostrander, this year's awardee for the Distinguished Achievement in Leadership and Nonprofit and Voluntary Action Award. As an outstanding scholar in the field of voluntary and philanthropic studies and a longtime member, supporter, and leader of our association, she richly deserves this award. She has been a leading scholar in our field. Her groundbreaking work on social relations of philanthropy, gender, and social movement philanthropy have paved the way for significant research in this area that we're all doing today. And for an example, her groundbreaking work, Women of the Upper Class, revealed to us the power of gender norms as elite women, although wealthy with access to power, were found to be strikingly similar to women in other classes, particularly in their subservience to their husbands and assumption of a primary role in child rearing. For over 4 decades, Susan has done groundbreaking work. She's been a visionary intellectual leader of the field of voluntary and philanthropic studies. For those of you who knew Susan or know Susan, you know that she has also been a longtime member of ARNOVA. She served our association in a variety of capacities. She was a board member, she chaired the nominations committee, she was a leader of various sections, an editorial board member for NVSQ. She also served as the founding chair of ARNOVA's Diversity Committee. And in her work, her thoughtful approach to and understanding of diversity issues, her ability to work collaboratively with the board and our members, and perhaps more importantly, her compassionate commitment to diversifying our organization led us forward at critical junctures in this process. Her engaging and influential leadership of this committee created an incredibly strong foundation for our association's work, which we see here today. Finally, Dr. Ostrander also served as a mentor to many scholars in the field, myself included. She organized conference panels, she invited papers, she was a willing and stimulating discussant, and she continually encouraged emerging scholars to become active in the field of nonprofit and philanthropic studies. She exemplifies the best of our field and is most deserving of this award, and I'm honored to introduce her to you today.
And unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here physically in person, but she sent us a short video that we're going to now play, hopefully.
Hello, ARNOVans. For many years, I looked forward at this conference to finding out who won this award. I don't think it ever crossed my mind that I might be asked to join this honored circle. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm really happy to be sharing this award with my old friend Dwight Burlingame. Hey, Dwight. I was involved with ARNOVA for 20 years. I had to look that up. And I think what I love about ARNOVA is the way that you're not just my colleague. So many of you became close friends. And that's not true in a lot of associations. And the other thing that kept me coming back is the combination of both the scholarship and the practical application. That fed my sense of purpose with my research. Then all the ways that an active scholar gets involved, the committees, the boards, the awards, I loved it all, and ARNOVA was the place where I had the happiest parts of my career, and I thank you for that. The scholarship for which I'm probably best known is about philanthropy. My 1984 book, Women of the Upper Class, argued that while there was some good that came from the volunteerism the women did, Mostly, it served to maintain the privilege and power of their own class. My 1995 book, Haymarket People's Fund, Social Movement Philanthropy, was an almost exact contrast. A small foundation that challenged class, privilege, and power. My last book took a very different turn, a study of the small, changing city of Somerville, Massachusetts, and the focus was issues of social citizenship, what I called shared governance, and mostly about the active citizenship of immigrant groups. I'm really pleased that ARNOVA is going to publish a longer version of this short little greeting to you in the newsletter, and please, if you want to talk more about all this, give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to have a personal chat with you. Meanwhile, hugs and kisses to all my old friends, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to ask Gregory Witkowski and Peter Weber to come up and talk a little bit about their nomination for Professor Burlingame.
Good afternoon. It is really an honor for me to be here. It doesn't happen always that you have the chance to introduce who has been your mentor for more than 10 years to this honor. Dwight Burlingame, and I call him Professor Burlingame, I cannot get over the title, has guided me for over 10 years in the field. He has been one of the fathers of nonprofit and philanthropic studies, but if you know him, you know that he has always worked in the background. He has been modest. Humility is what characterizes him, and he has never sought the spotlights. And I think this honor is extremely well deserved. And I cannot think about anything better than him for that. And as you can see, we need to be in two to introduce him.
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, everyone. It's with all that Dwight has done, I guess both of us are needed up here. So it's my pleasure as well to congratulate Dwight on this accomplishment. It's certainly well-deserved. He's been at the Center on Philanthropy, now Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, for 30 years. And so really an amazing amount of time during which he helped to create MA program, BA program, PhD program that so many of you out here have attended. So congratulations in that kind of leadership. And as Peter said, it's always been a kind of servant leadership model based on humility, based on helping others, and based on mentorship. And so it's really great to see that recognized here today. I want to mention two things about Dwight related to research. One is when I was first hired at the center, I always had a lot of questions, and so I would go and ask Dwight, and I've been amazed that he always seemed to have an answer. And so it didn't matter what it was. And then I later found out, oh yeah, he edited an encyclopedia called Philanthropy in America. So if anyone wants to look, you can find your information there. But even more so, I think one of the biggest contributions, in addition to his own work, was helping others through the book series that Indiana University has had. In editing that series, he essentially curated a coda of work for philanthropic and nonprofit studies. And that allows all of us, I think, to continue to advance this field. And so thank you, Dwight, for that as well.
Dwight will say a few words.
Ooh, boy, the light is blinding, especially if you're going to try to read something. And this is here because I'm not quite sure. But I'll just I am indeed honored and humbled by the receipt of this Distinguished Achievement Award from ARNOVA. It's especially meaningful to me because ARNOVA has been my primary professional organization in my life for the last 30 years. It is indeed special to join the company of the past awardees of this award and to receive it at the same time as Susan Ostrander, my friend. Hello, Susan. And I first met, actually when I first met her was in 1992 at the ARNOVA Research Conference held at Yale University. It was a significant event for me since it was my first time to present a paper at an ARNOVA conference. Thanks to the many ARNOVA colleagues and friends that have been part of the network that has helped me to achieve whatever success I have obtained in this relatively new field of philanthropic, civil society, nonprofit, or voluntaristics even, as our founder of ARNOVA, David Horton Smith, named it. I would also like to acknowledge the support of my family, and especially my wife, and my grandchildren, 3 of them are on my tie here, of 52 years, who is unable to be here today. The award has prompted me to reflect on my own intellectual and personal journey. After receiving my master's in library science in 1967 from the University of Illinois, I worked in various administrative and teaching positions over a period of 17 years in the library and learning resources field, with a 2-year interruption during the Vietnam War when I served in the Army. It was in the spring, however, of 1984 when the president of Bowling Green State University called me into his office and wanted me to take the position of vice president for university relations and head of the university foundation. That changed my career path. It was through that position, and particularly through the discussion with major donors about the role of philanthropy and their dreams, that led me 6 years later to accept Robert Payton's offer to come to then Center on Philanthropy at Indiana University and head up the academic and research programs at the center. It was really a great opportunity to be actively engaged in the working with faculty, staff, and students in the development of a new field of study. One of my first duties, of course, was actually to educate myself in this field that I was teaching in, about the history and practice of philanthropy and of voluntary organizations in the US and internationally. The reading list was long, and the participation with professional colleagues was foremost. Participation in the research form of independent sector in 1990 provided my first opportunity to meet many leaders: Virginia Hutchinson, Michael O'Neill, who I'm sure is here today, Dennis Young, Paul Shervish, John Van Til, and Elizabeth Boris, among others, which have become my friends and supporters and mentors for the last 30 years. In 1991, I also helped organize a meeting at the center, which helped in the establishment of iStar, another community of scholars and practitioners, many also, of course, in this room who are also members of ARNOVA, devoted to building our understanding of the third sector in the world community. Through connections made possible by iStar and grants from various foundations, especially an Eastern European Initiative grant from Mott Foundation in 1993, and it was that work, particularly in Slovenia and Croatia, that my quest for understanding civil society and the role of philanthropy in the world was firmly planted. From Europe, especially Giuliana Gemelli at the University of Bologna, where we developed a master's in international studies in philanthropy with IU, and for Latin America, especially the support of the Kellogg Foundation in the Building Bridges project, to Japan, Korea, China, the Middle East, and Southern Africa, so many people to whom I am indebted. Finally, I got to work with the Nonprofit Academic Centers Council starting in 1991, and that group's interest in building and expanding education and research in our field has been a core focus of my own contributions. Working with colleagues, especially on developing curricular guidelines for the field, was particularly rewarding. Over the last 30 years at Indiana, I met with many leaders in the field, but ARNOVA continues to provide the intellectual home for me and the opportunity to work with so many colleagues who believe in the importance of serving not only their individual academic interest, but the importance of engaging with and service in community. Thanks especially to the many individuals here and to those who could not be here today that have been social innovators, advocates, and critics as we work to create a just society for all. Most of all, I owe much to the colleagues, current and past, at the Center of Philanthropy, and now the school, and its many donors, as well as administrative leaders at IU, which provided much needed resources for the Indiana experiment to succeed. First and foremost, you might all guess, was Robert Payton, who hired me, followed by directors Warren Ilshman, Jean Temple, Patrick Rooney, and our current dean, Amir Pasig. Over the years, I've had the pleasure to work with hundreds of faculty colleagues, too many to name here, so forgive me, all of my colleagues in the hall today, as well as students and former students. You will go unnamed, but the importance of it will not be forgotten. And the discussions that we were able to have over the last several years. And an example to illustrate this point on my part is recently I had the opportunity to sit down with Benjamin Lane, faculty colleague at the school, and discuss her work where she reviewed much of the research published in the three major journals of our field, NVSQ, Voluntas, and NM and L, over the last decade. I was struck with her finding that we have focused much of our work on the organizations, leaders, donors, and volunteers, but to a much lesser degree to the frontline workers who deliver our services and to the beneficiaries of our work. Perhaps if we understood better all the actors in our respective communities, we would make even more progress as we work to achieve a greater just society for all, especially, as was noted this morning at our plenary session, in our fractured political environment in the US. Perhaps most important for me goes to the hundreds of students, like Peter Weber, and the doctoral students, many of which are here today, and faculty members around the country that I've had the privilege to teach and grow with as we explore the role of philanthropy and civil society across the globe. Building new degree programs and nurturing research useful for practitioners in the field has made for an exciting and rewarding career for me. Along with the development of degree programs was, of course, the establishment, as was mentioned, of the 1990 book series with Indiana University Press on philanthropy, with co-editor at the time of Robert Payton. It was, however, in 1999 when David Hammack joined with me as co-editor through 2018, at which time more than 50 scholarly works had been published. From 94 to 2000, I co-edited a practitioner series on new directions for philanthropic fundraising, and from 2004 to 2010, I had the distinct privilege to be co-editor of NVSQ with my colleague and friend, Wolfgang Bierfield. We benefit, of course, from the previous editors, but especially I want to tip my hat to Stephen Smith for his guidance as had been done before in terms of transitions. Working with the authors and reading their works was truly a rewarding education. I mention these editorships to convey my hope that many of you will seek to do translational type of work that reaches a wide and diverse audience in addition to the deep dive into a special area of research that faculties often expect for one to obtain, yes, the tenure card. Collaborative applied research is especially needed when we engage with diverse communities outside of the university to build a better civil society for all. When looking back over the last 30 years as prologue for the next generation of leaders in the field, I have faith that the ideals of justice and compassion will be revitalized in our communities. I often find myself returning to reading Building Community, as some of you might know, by John W. Gardner, which was published in 1991 by Independent Sector. And he said, and I quote, "Strong and resilient communities can stand between the individual and any government that tries to impose dictatorial, or frankly, plutocracy, solutions from the right or left," unquote. The urgency of our action seems even more needed in today's USA, as well as many other countries, not, by the way, the Netherlands, around the globe. Philanthropy and voluntary organizations, rightly understood, are so important for that just society that we research and study as members of the community of ARNOVA. In a recent headline of the Chronicle of Philanthropy, the question asked was, quote, "How can philanthropy save our democracy?" unquote. In the US context today, I wonder if perhaps the question might have been, how can philanthropy work with government and business to save our democracy? In correspondence with Judith Seidel on this topic, another ARNOVA colleague, she rightly pointed out that civil society philanthropy, and I quote, "will sometimes have to take the lead," unquote. Are we ready to help civil society take the lead with followers from government and business? Our conference theme, Nonprofits and Philanthropy in a Polarized World, Speaking Truth to Power and Using Power to Speak Truth, seems most inspired. The European Research Network on Philanthropy's call for papers for a special issue on Voluntas on philanthropy in the spotlight, achievements, limitations, opportunities, and risks, and several recent books on the role of philanthropy in democracy, like by our own speaker this morning, Just Giving, and of course to me a special book because it comes from the Native community of which I'm also part, Decolonizing Wealth. And of course, I cannot miss this opportunity to put in a plug for one of our own textbooks that is now available, Reframing Nonprofit Organizations. If you don't have it in your library, you should have it, so go buy it. And of course, regular articles in our press, like Nonprofit Quarterly, are leading the call for informed action and the need for researchers, especially ARNOVans, to assist philanthropy to address current societal problems in our knowledge production and in innovative ways for practice to move us to a more just global community. As many past participants at ARNOVA know, I love to express joy through music. Thus, on this occasion, I leave you with the ARNOVA song that I wrote several years ago. ARNOVA, the most beautiful org I ever knew. ARNOVA, 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 all the beautiful folks of the world in a single org. ARNOVA, ARNOVA, I just found an org named ARNOVA, not just an acronym, but a research synonym to me. ARNOVA, I just joined an organization named ARNOVA. Where would this sector be without this inquiry to me? ARNOVA, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like thinking. ARNOVA, I'll never stop saying, ARNOVA, the most beautiful org I ever knew. ARNOVA. Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations, Dwight. That's a hard one to follow up on. That was fantastic. I'm just here to give you some reminders about the rest of the day. Tonight, we have the Early Scholars section meeting and common interest group meetings. They're starting at 5:30 tonight. And also the section meetings, the other section meetings are happening tomorrow night, and everyone is welcome to come to these common interest group and section meetings. So please look at your program, and it's a good way to network and connect with people in your areas of interest. I also want to remind you, if you signed up for the Fearless Dialogue session, that's tonight at 6 p.m. And there's also the Baruch College reception tonight at 6:30 p.m. You're all welcome to that. And the member meeting is tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., and I hope you will join us for that. And please look at your program for details. The next section will start at 2:15 p.m., so we'll see you later. Thank you.